One of the most important transits of the year is always when Saturn goes retrograde. Yes, it does go retrograde once every year. And now for this year, it's going to happen on June 17th. That's what I talk about today. Hello, everybody. I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very, 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 very warm namaste. Aham Brahmasmi. So let's take a look at the planetary details and the dates of Saturn's retrograde motion. Well, number one, it's going to start its retrograde motion on June 17th, and it's going to stay retrograde until November 4th. So it's about a 140-day retrograde motion. That's very typical of Saturn every year. It stays retrograde for a very long time. This is the reason why so many people have a retrograde Saturn in their natal birth charts. So all the babies born between June 17th and November 4th will have a retrograde Saturn in their natal birth charts. Now, Saturn transited into the zodiac of Aquarius earlier this year in January. And throughout its retrograde motion from June to November, it's going to stay in the same zodiac of Aquarius. It's not going to move back into the prior zodiac of Capricorn. Now, a lot of times when a retrograde planet, sometimes it moves back into the prior zodiac sign, but Saturn's not going to do that. So it's going to stay in Aquarius the entire time that it retrogrades. As far as the nakshatra is concerned, right now it's transiting in the nakshatra of Sattbhishak. Sattbhishak is ruled by Rahu. And it's going to stay in the nakshatra of Sattbhishak until October 14th. And then it moves into the prior nakshatra of Dhanishta. Dhanishta is ruled by Mars. Once it moves into Dhanishta, it stays until November 24th, and then November 24th, it will move back into the nakshatra of Sattbhishak. What is a retrograde planet? Now, last year when I made a video regarding Saturn's retrograde transit last year, I had explained what is a retrograde planet, but for those people that didn't watch that video last year, I'll explain it to you again. One of the things you have to understand is that a planet never really moves backwards. Retrograde, the word actually means moving backwards. But you have to understand a planet never ever actually moves backwards. A planet is always moving in the forward motion. And so Saturn is still moving in the forward motion. It's not actually moving backwards. But because a retrograde planet means that the Earth has come very, very, very close to that planet, which means once a year in Earth's, when the Earth is transiting, it comes very close to where Saturn is transiting. And so both the Earth and Saturn are very close together. But the Earth is moving much, much faster than Saturn's moving. So from the Earth, when we look at Saturn, it seems like it's moving backwards. In effect, Saturn is not moving backwards, it's still moving forward. And the example I gave last year was that, as an example, let's say you're sitting in a train or any vehicle and there's another vehicle next to you. The vehicle that you are in moves faster, or let's say you are in a train and your train starts to move faster or move in the forward motion at a faster rate. So the train that's standing next to you, if it's slow or if it's even paused or stopped, if you look out the window, it seems like it's moving backwards as opposed to you moving forward. If you look at it, sometimes it feels like that the train or the vehicle that's next to you is either slow or stopped, seems to have moved backwards. That's exactly what a retrograde planet is, because obviously our Earth moves much faster than Saturn. When we look close to Saturn, it seems like it has moved backward. But in effect, Saturn or any other planet never moves backward. It's still moving forward, except it's moving at a much slower speed than the Earth is moving as it's passing across from Saturn. Now that would mean that at this time, anytime Saturn is retrograde, any other planet is retrograde, the Earth has come extremely close to that planet because it's passing right by it. And that means that the impact of a retrograde planet is extremely powerful. In fact, it's magnified because it has come that close to it. So we feel the impact of retrograde planets a lot more than if it wasn't retrograde, because you're passing so close to it that the magnetic energy or the vibration we feel the impact of it at a much more powerful, reinforced level. Hence, that's why retrograde planets, especially the slow moving retrograde planets, have a much more powerful impact on us as opposed to when they were not retrograde. Let's take a look at what the impact Saturn's retrograde motion is going to have as a whole on all of us and our mind, our mentality. What are the thought process that we're going to go through during Saturn's retrograde motion? And then I'll make general predictions by each ascendant. But this part is extremely important, and I wish people would just listen to this part as much as they listen to the ascendant-based predictions. Those are very dependent on your dashas and antardashas. This part that I do based on the nakshatra reading is actually more important and applies to everybody. Let's take a look at this beautiful nakshatra called Satvishak. Now, Satvishak is also called Shatatarika. So the word Shat means 100, Vishak means healers, and when you say Shatatarika, Shat means again 100, Tarika means little stars. So this nakshatra or constellation is comprised of 100 little stars, and it actually denotes 100 healers. So this nakshatra is very commonly referred to as the nakshatra of healing, recovery, medicine, innovations in medicine, research and development in meditation, and it's a nakshatra of healing, like I said. And because it has so many little stars, it focuses on the detail, which is why it's a very good nakshatra for research and development. Now, Satvishak is obviously in Aquarius, and it's ruled by Rahu. So Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So the energy of Rahu and Saturn is very prevalent in this nakshatra. Of course, Saturn and Rahu are very conflicting energies. Now, Rahu means obsessing about material goals. Rahu means achieving your material desires, goals at any cost, hook or crook, and it doesn't matter how you get them. You just want to achieve those goals, material goals, nothing spiritual about Rahu. And here's Saturn. Saturn means the karma that we create, doing things the right way, working hard towards getting what you want to achieve in your career, in your daily work, with people, and just in your general life, and doing things the absolute right way, getting things through the right means and through hard work and perseverance and dedication. And you see how they're very conflicting. And now this nakshatra is placed in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. Aquarius denotes wish fulfillment, desires. So when we have this conflicting two planets, nakshatra that's denotes this conflicting energy in the zodiac of Aquarius, it's no coincidence. What it tells us is that it denotes this inner conflict, and now this will come through when Saturn retrogrades. It's the inner conflict that we all face of how do we achieve material goals, desires, things in our career. What is it that we have to do now? Should we follow the Rahu way, which is achieving material things, material desires, wish fulfillment through any means, trampling over people, being devious, being fraudulent? I don't care what I do, I'm just going to go get my material desires fulfilled? Or do you follow the Saturn way, making sure that you create positive karma, you persevere, you do the hard work, and you get what you worked for, you worked hard for, staying honest, creating positive karma at all times, never creating negative karma. Rahu doesn't care about karma. It'll create all kinds of negative karma to achieve its goals. So this inner conflict will now bubble to the surface during these next 140 days. It's all about desires, wish fulfillment, and how you achieve them. All of us are going to face this inner conflict within us. Which path should we take? Is it okay to take the Rahu path, or is it okay to take the Saturn path? Saturn will tell us, do things the right way, work hard for it, make sure you deserve it. And Rahu says, what do you care? Just go after what you want, get what you want, and don't care how you get it. And so this inner conflict, like I said, is going to be very prevalent for all of us during this next 140-day transit. And for most part, because Saturn is retrograde and this energy is going to be way more powerful, we're going to be torn, because a lot of us tend to fall for the Rahu way. We want things quicker, faster, don't care how we get it. But here's Saturn playing a very big role, because it has so much power right now. It has this energy that's going to take over us, and it's going to stop us from that. So this inner conflict is going to be, like I said, very prevalent. We're going to be tormented within ourselves to make sure that we do things the right way. We're going to be tempted by Rahu to get it at any cost. Saturn's going to stop us and say, no, do it the right way. So you guys will have to deal with, all of us will have to deal with this struggle, the internal struggle that is going to come in the next 140 days of Saturn retrograding in Shatbishak. My guidance obviously is to do it the Saturn way, which is always the right way to do it. When Rahu gives, it takes it away in the end. When Saturn gives it permanently, which is why as an astrologer I'm going to guide you, always go after things in the Saturn way of doing things. Hard work, perseverance. I'm going to get it because I deserve to get it because of my hard work and my karma. So make sure you always go after your wish and desires through the Saturn way, working hard for it, doing it the honest way, creating positive karma on your way to your wishes and desires, even if they're materialistic. Because when Rahu gives and you follow the Rahu path of getting your material wishes and desires, in the end, Rahu always takes it away from you. Make sure you follow the Saturn path if you are having this inner turmoil during this Saturn retrograde phase. My guidance is to do it the Saturn way, so it comes to you because you've earned it, and when you've earned it, it will stay with you. It will not be taken away from you. That's my guidance to you. Let's take a look at some of the general predictions that we could probably expect to happen. Well, number one, some of our wishes and desires that we had in the past may come up again, and we may start thinking about them, and we may feel like we want to do them or fulfill them. So that's one thing that some of us may feel. Secondly, some of us may have people that we knew of or knew about, friends, relatives, that come back in our lives. All of a sudden, that you had people that you had lost touch with may now come back in our lives. That's a possibility that happens. Also, there could be maybe some health issues that we had in the past that now some of us, not all of us, this is only for some of us, where it resurfaces. So if we had some problems that, in the past where we had some issues with lower extremities like legs, pain in the legs, ankles, feet, some of us may feel that health issue has resurfaced, but at this time you may find like a recovery from it. Like you may find a cure. Like in the past you had something where you didn't feel healthy, and now it comes back, but now you feel like you found some cure for it, or you feel recovery from it because you found medicine or some cure or recovery from a past illness. So that may happen also. The other thing is that we may find that people that are working, that things that they had started in the past but not completed, they come back now, and now you have the opportunity where somebody says, well, you have to complete this now. So you're made to complete things that happened in the past, and now they come back, where you may have started something, left it on incomplete, and now somebody comes back and says, well, you need to do this now, otherwise you can't move forward. You can't get what you wanted to get in your career unless you finish or complete a project that was started, left incomplete in the past. One of the other things is that if you made a mistake, something that in the past, or you made an error that in the past, something that you didn't do well in the past may now resurface. Like somebody may find out about it and say, well, you need to fix this now. So that's something from the past may come up. So these are things that I'm mentioning. Everything is from the past, because a retrograde Saturn brings up unresolved issues from the past. So a lot of things from the past can come up. Now these can be good things. They can also be some challenging things from the past. So make sure you're aware that there's a lot of things that can come up from the past. Like I said, good or positive things. That's what the effect of a retrograde planet is. So notice I'm saying things from the past. So that's what a retrograde Saturn does. It brings up things from the past. They could be good, it could be challenging things. So if something does come up with you, make sure if you want, you can put something in my comment section and tell me what came up from the past, whether it was something good or something not so good. And then if you want, you can share it with us and put it in the comments. But good luck to everybody on what comes up from the past. I hope good things come back from the past for all of you. I now move on to predictions. I'm only going to make the predictions based on this one factor, which is the Saturn retrograde. That's why they're going to be short predictions. Understand these are general predictions. And those people that are under any Saturn Dasha, Mahadasha, Antardasha, or Rahu Antardasha, Mahadasha, or even Mars Dasha, Antardasha, may feel the effect a little more than those that are not having these same planetary Dashas, Mahadashas, and they're general. They're also based on the rising sign or your moon sign. So they're not based on your sun sign that you read about in magazines and newspapers, so people can stop asking me what they're based on. But this one you can listen to based on your moon sign or your rising sign or both. So that's what they're based on. Make sure you understand these are general predictions and they're only based on the retrograde Saturn transit and not taking into account all the other planets and their placements. And before I forget, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. I'm getting a lot of love from all of you. My subscribers are increasing, so thank you so much for that. But if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. And this video is very important, so please do share it with friends and family. Aries, Saturn retrogrades in your 11th house. Aries, Saturn is in a very favorable house of gains and desire fulfillment, but it will test you by making you work harder than usual in your career. You will have to wait for your rewards and wish fulfillment. Remember, Saturn delays but never denies, so you will ultimately get your wishes and desires fulfilled and also rewards and position in your career. But you're going to have to work hard for it during this retrograde phase. There is a chance that some work that was previously pending will now resurface and you will have to work hard to complete it before you can move forward in your career or even get rewards financially. Some friends or contacts that you had lost touch with can now get back in touch with you. This can take a positive or a challenging turn because they may bring up past issues and that can either create a disturbance in your relationship with them or you can actually enjoy very positive time with them. If you had lost touch with your siblings in the past, there's a chance that they come back in your life. Try your best to repair your relationship with them if it had been suffering in the past. This is a time when you may seem very low on energy and you may have a loss of interest and not feel motivated to do anything new. Make sure you complete all your pending past work, tie up all loose ends at work and in relationships, and that way, when the retrograde phase is over, you're ready to move on and forward and get all your wishes and desires fulfilled. Taurus, Saturn is going to retrograde in your 10th house. Taurus, at this time you may feel a very strong desire to learn new things, new skills, especially those that may help in your career. Also, there may be a tendency to want to make career changes, but that's not a very good idea at this time. Wait until November or after November when the retrograde phase is done, and that's when it's a good time to make any career changes. Those Taurians that don't have careers may also feel an attraction towards learning new things that could help them around the household or things that may help them in their retirement life if they're retired. Some Taurians may actually also feel an inclination towards spirituality and religion and may look into following something along those lines. If you're one of the lucky Taurians where your father is still very much in your life, then there may be some disturbance in your relationship with him because he may be reminding you of your roles and responsibilities regarding finance and health. Also need to take care of your parents' health at this time. Don't take chances with matters of luck and finance. It might not have a favorable outcome at this time. Think before you make any expensive purchases, especially real estate investments. Saturn's retrograde phase promises lots of travel related to your work or your business at this time. Just make sure that you bring everything with you. Don't forget things at home and make sure you have everything you need while you're traveling. Sometimes a retrograde phase makes us forget things at home or makes us make travel plans that may not be perfect. So make sure you make perfect travel plans and make sure you have everything with you. Some Taurians may actually also travel for religious or dharmic reasons and may visit some religious places during this retrograde phase. Gemini, Saturn retrogrades in your 9th house. Gemini, Saturn is retrograding in the 9th house, which is the house of luck, so your luck is now enhanced.
Your financial situation actually may improve now. You will work even harder on long-term financial planning for the future, and this will be very favorable for you since luck is on your side. A long-term desire or wish may start to get fulfilled as long as your intentions are clean and honest and you go about it via honest means. Geminis that are looking for a job may get one now. Some of you may even have to relocate due to a new position or a job. Lots of Geminis may feel a very strong desire to connect with spirituality or religion. By all means, do that. This will have a very benefic influence on your energy. A lot of Geminis may actually even travel to religious places or start visiting their religious organizations to get mental peace, emotional happiness, and a change of their energy. On the negative side, you need to manage your relationship with your father and his health. Take good care of him. Don't get into arguments with him because Saturn retrograde may have you bring up issues from the past with him or may have you discuss things that happened in the past with them. That's not going to be beneficial at all. So refrain from doing that. Just enjoy what you have with him and try to move forward. Bringing up and dredging up past issues will actually be very damaging not only to his health but also to your relationship with him.
Cancer, Saturn retrogrades in your 8th house.
Cancer, this is a very critical phase for a lot of Cancer people as far as their career is concerned. This is a time when you will be asked to complete all pending and unfinished tasks and projects at work, and this is going to be critical to your career success and stability in the future. Some Cancers may find that past issues at work now be brought up and create a disturbance in their career during this Saturn retrograde phase. So be very aware of your past performances and fix any lapses that you may have had in the past. If you made certain errors or have had any issues in your past performance at work, make sure you know about it and you fix it as quickly as you can before other people bring it up to your attention. Any health issues you've had in the past regarding either digestive matters or with your feet may actually resurface during this phase as well. However, the good news is that you may find a good treatment for it this time with your persistence, and you may actually find permanent relief from it. So don't worry about it. Just take good care of your health. And if these matters do resurface again, make sure you go after it and find a good treatment relief plan that works for you. Take good care of your health and drive carefully. The other good news is that there's a chance of you getting any unearned income at this time, which could be if you were waiting for any insurance settlements, inheritance matters to get settled, or any other type of unearned income. This is a time when you will get it. However, you need to be very careful about investing at this time. It's a very risky time, so don't make any big investment decisions at this time. This retrograde phase is not beneficial for making risky financial decisions, so be aware of that.
Leo, Saturn retrogrades in your 7th house.
Leo, this Saturn retrograde phase is financially pretty beneficial for everybody. Now, this applies to people that are employed as well as to business owners. So any matters related to career advancement or for business owners that had been stuck in the past and had prevented you from either moving forward in your career or growing your business and had been stuck in the past, now will start to move forward in your favor. Now, just make sure that you maintain excellent relationships at work if you're at work, and if you're a business owner, you need to think carefully before you do any more investing. Otherwise, it's a financially beneficial phase for you. On the other hand, there may be some stress in your marriage. Your partner is going to bring up past issues and matters that upset them in the past, and they're going to create new conflicts as a result of that. It's in your best interest to diffuse that tension rather than fight back. Saturn retrograde will make you fight back or sulk in return, and that's probably not a good idea. So just listen to them, hear them out, and then just don't fight back. It's going to make things much worse if you actually fight back. So just kind of hear them out and feel what they're telling you and just kind of feel for them. Now, the same issue applies to coworkers. They may also want to drag out old issues and hash them out take the same approach, listen to them, just listen to what they're saying, feel for them, but don't take the combative approach at work as well, because that's going to be pretty damaging to your career if you try to start fighting and then, not listening to them. This is also not a good time to get into a large debt situation, whether it's lending or borrowing. So don't borrow a large amount of money and don't lend out a large amount of money. You probably won't get it back. If you borrow a large amount of money, you probably won't be able to pay it off very easily. Now, I did say earlier about investments for business owners that it's okay to invest. So very frequently when you invest, you do borrow. I guess that's an exception, because if you think very carefully and you feel that it's feasible, I guess you could go ahead and borrow. But, borrowing at this time is generally not a very good time for that. It will take you a very long time to return it. So when you borrow when a Saturn is retrograde, it takes you a long time to return it. So if you're going to make investments in your business, think carefully if you're going to have to borrow to invest.
Virgo, Saturn retrogrades in your 6th house.
Virgo Saturn retrograde in the 6th house provides some challenge to health issues. If you've had digestive issues in the past, or if you've had any chest pains because of acidity or digestive issues, that's going to resurface now. So one of the remedies you can do is try to avoid a lot of salt in your diet at this time. Also, if you feel unhealthy, even the slightest bit, you should make sure that you get checked out and get it treated. This is a great time to get permanent treatment. So in the past, if it wasn't treated and the issue resurfaces now, you seek medical help and it's going to get treated permanently, because this is a great time to get permanent treatment, medical treatment. Also, one of the great remedies for Saturn in the 6th house is physical exercise of any kind. It doesn't have to be rigorous physical exercise or going to the gym. It could also mean just going for a daily walk or light yoga. But that's always a very, very good remedy for any kind of Saturn activity in the 6th house. The other thing is, you also have to be very careful about any new financial speculative kind of activity during this phase. It's a time for loss, so make sure that you don't get into risky financial speculations at this time. Your coworkers or your seniors or people at work may want to bring up past issues or matters from the past and want to discuss them again. And they'll simply want you to either, if they weren't completed in the past, ask you that you complete them to their satisfaction, or you may be asked to make corrections or redo some work. So, don't let that disturb you or your relationship with them. Just do what you're being asked to do and just move on with that. If you be combative about it or you get disturbed about it, it's going to ruin your relationship with them, because the 6th house Saturn tends to sometimes ruin relationships with coworkers unless they're managed very carefully. So if past issues are brought up, past tasks are brought up at work, just do what you're being asked to do. It's not going to be a big deal if you just comply, but if you start fighting with them, it's going to take on an ugly turn. During this phase, there's also a chance that if any loan activity from the past resurfaces, and the loans could be either loans that you've given out and the person comes back and repays you, or if there was loans that you had taken from people that they come back and ask you that you pay them back. So loan activity from the past, there's a chance it comes back during this phase. Also, legal matters from the past can now resurface at this time. So things that were getting dragged for a long time legally, there may be some conclusion to that. Or matters that happened or had started a long time ago can now maybe resurface and become a legal issue at this time as well.
Libra, Saturn retrogrades in your 5th house.
Libra, this is an excellent phase to incorporate learning new skill sets or any kind of education in your career or just in your life. If you're not a career person, then learning new things in your life will be something that you're very attracted to at this time. A previous hobby or creative talent that you hadn't practiced for some time might find its way in your life again, and you should pursue that because it will provide you with some much needed emotional happiness. So if there was something that you used to do before, any hobby, creative talents that you used to do before but haven't done it or even haven't thought about it in a long time, is now suddenly going to come into your mind, and you may start practicing it, or you should start practicing it, and it will give you a lot of mental happiness.
Libra has not been mentally, emotionally happy for a while, so I suggest all of you do think about something like that and bring it back in your life. If you have children, they will try to bring up prior forgotten events and incidents that may cause some disturbance in your relationship with them. They're going to tell you what you didn't do right or what they expected of you and that you didn't meet their expectation. That's very typical of children. I would strongly suggest that you just let them talk and you don't argue back with them. Arguing with children is just really pointless. So let them talk about it and then you move on. The more you argue with them, the worse this is going to be. And it's going to really disturb a relationship because of Saturn being in the 5th house. It has the ability to permanently damage relationships. So if that happens, just let them do what they're doing. Let them say what they're saying. Just listen to it and then move on. Don't argue back with them. Now, and the exact same thing applies to love relationships. If you're not married and you have a love relationship, your lover may do the actually exact same thing with you. Bring up old, things, events, and try to start a little fight with you. Let them get it out of their system. Don't argue back. Listen to them and be understanding of what they're saying to them. Otherwise, if you fight back, it's going to destroy your relationship. For some Libras, it's entirely possible that a friend or a lover from the past that you're broken up with now resurfaces again and probably wants to reconnect with you. How you deal with it is entirely your choice. I don't have anything to say on that. Just proceed with caution if you're married or you're already in a relationship. During this phase, students may also find that they have to do some rework or repeat some lessons that they have previously done. And they had left either incomplete or were not done to satisfaction. So there's some rework that students may have to face during this time. Some Libras may find that matters relating to the home may resurface again. These are matters such as renovations or things that broke within the house that need to be fixed, or things within the house that are getting broken, appliances and stuff like that, and that were not taken care of in the past, and now it's become a problem again. So now they need to get fixed at this time. So things come up again and you now need to take care of them on a permanent basis. So there's a chance that that happens as well. Scorpio, Saturn retrogrades in your 4th house. Scorpio, the Saturn retrograde phase has the possibility to disturb you mentally and make you constantly reflect back on the past. You may miss the happy times of the past and you're constantly focusing on it, and then keep comparing the past to your current situation, and may make you feel a little depressed. You may even miss some people from your past that gave you happiness and then wish that they were still in your life. And so this is going to give you a little bit of stress and a little bit of a sense of depression while this retrograde phase lasts. The other thing is that you may be thinking about relocating or purchasing some real estate, and you're not sure if that's the correct decision for you and your family. So you're stressing about that and you're thinking, the tendency that you want to relocate is great, but you're still worried if that's the right thing and that your family will be happy or not. And people in your family may want not to move. So there's a struggle that you may have to face over there. Also, some of you may be concerned about your mother's health very much. If your mother was, not doing well health-wise in the past, then some of her health issues may come back and resurface at this time. So take very, very good care of your mother's health. Make sure you don't damage your relationship with her. Take good care of her. The health matters, it does not apply to all Scorpios. It only applies if your mother did have previous health issues. Now, if your mother didn't have previous health issues, obviously they're not going to resurface, then she should be fine, so don't worry. But there's also a tendency that your mother does bring up old issues, past events, and then she wants to talk about them. So if that creates a disturbance or a stress in your life, just listen to her, share her feelings, but don't fight it and don't let it ruin your relationship with her. There's also a chance that if there was a previous issue related to family property, any real estate issues within the family in the past, and then it hadn't been talked about for a while, that this issue now resurfaces. And then there's a possibility that that creates some disharmony within the family because everybody's not going to agree on whatever needs to be done or how it needs to be handled. So there's a possibility that that issue resurfaces at this time as well. Handle it the best you can. Don't ruin relationships with family members. Nothing is as important as relationships, even when it is real estate. Sagittarius, Saturn retrogrades in your third house.
Sagittarius, this is a phase where you will have very good energy and your motivation to do and start new things will be excellent. If previously you felt a little lethargic and didn't have the desire to take on new initiatives, that will change now and you are going to move forward with great focus and speed. Not only that, if you do that, there will be good benefit and success to be had from your efforts. The one and only thing you need to watch for is your relationship with your siblings and maybe your neighbors. They will want to bring up all past issues and that can create rifts in your relationships with them. Avoid conflict and confrontation with them. This is possible where you even want to bring up old issues with them and create some disturbance within that relationship. You're going to try to remind them of things that they didn't do well in the past or efforts that they didn't make in the past. This is not a good idea. Do everything you can to make sure that your relationship with your siblings is not damaged during this retrograde phase. This is also a time for short travels. Maybe the short travels are to meet with siblings and with family. Try your best to get along without any communication issues if you do meet with family or your siblings at this time. Also make sure that if you do go on a short travel, make sure you plan your travel really well. It's very easy to get distracted or have your travel plans be derailed at this time if you don't plan them well. Also, don't forget to take on all your important items at home. A retrograde planet always likes to derail plans or make you forget things at home. So make sure your travel plans are well planned and you have everything you need to take on your travel with you.
Capricorn, Saturn retrogrades in your second house.
Capricorn, this Saturn retrograde phase is positive in terms of financial stability and savings. You may get good gains from your investments, and if you have any real estate deals at this time, there could be gains from that as well. So if you try very hard, you can actually increase your savings. So try your best to not have a lot of expenses during this phase. If you were trying to sell some property for a while and it wasn't able to get sold, this Saturn retrograde phase might be the time when it does get sold. And like I mentioned, there could be good gains from the real estate sale as well. Now, I do have one caution as far as financial gains and financial transactions is concerned. Don't do anything in hurried manner or risky. Think through things very carefully before you do any investments, financial related activity, or even real estate transactions. You have to think through things very carefully. Don't ever forget Saturn is retrograde. So don't do things in haste or without thinking. On the flip side, your communication and speech, on the other hand, could take on a very negative tone with family as well as friends. You will be very prone to reminding everyone of their past issues and where they have made mistakes and not met their obligations. My guidance to you is to refrain from this tendency. Don't talk to your whole family and family members and tell everybody this is what you did or didn't do, and keep reminding them about the past things that you, in your mind, they didn't do well. It's going to damage your relationship with them on a permanent basis. Saturn in the second house, especially when it's retrograde, has the ability to damage relationships if you don't manage your communication and your speech. So I'm going to remind you to make sure your communication and your speech remain cordial and don't berate other people telling them what they didn't do right and what they could have done better. Also, since the second house represents the food that you eat, you need to take very good care of what you're eating and your diet. The tendency will be to eat stale food, to eat unprocessed food, and also to eat lots of extra salt or salty foods. Saturn represents salt. So this is what you're going to do, is start eating a lot of salty food or start putting extra salt on your food. If that's what you already do, then that's probably not a good idea anyway. And that's going to be very damaging to your health and to your digestion. So make sure you refrain from that and try to, as much as possible, eat very healthy but fresh food. Otherwise, you could have some issues with your digestion. And also, in general, you could have some health issues as a result of that. If you eat fresh food, you watch your diet, you may have no health issues at this time.
Aquarius, Saturn retrogrades in your own ascendant house, the first house.
Aquarius, Saturn is going to retrograde in your first house, and the first house denotes you, yourself, your body, your mind, everything about you. And so that's why this phase is one where you will need to do your best to stay focused on what you want in your career, in your life, in your relationships. All your wishes and desires that you have is what you're going to have to focus on. Retrograde Saturn will make you very distracted, and your efforts and energy will be very scattered at this time. You may find it very hard to think through things carefully, and in the end, you will end up making very hasty, careless decisions. So try your best to stay on track, work slowly and steadily, and not get distracted by too many things. This is a time when you need to identify your wishes and desires and work very hard towards them one at a time without getting distracted. Take very good care of your health as well at this time. Any and all past health issues have the chance of resurfacing during this phase, especially those related to body aches and pains, as well as mental stress from the past. So you may get stressed about things that happened in the past or things that you had in the past, and you may want them again. And then that's going to create a mental stress for you, mental worry for you. So make sure you make very realistic goals right now and just focus on them, work very hard on them. So as far as your health is concerned, if some things do bother you health-wise, whether they're old issues or new ones that resurface, then make sure you get yourself checked out and try to find permanent cures for them. This is a very good time where it's possible that you find a permanent solution for your health issues. So make sure you make every effort to look for these health issue, cures, solutions to your health problems at this time. Do everything you can to take care of your health. You should eat healthy. You should try a physical exercise regimen, even if it's not, hard physical exercise, going to the gym. You can try to at least take a daily short walk, or you can even try light yoga. But the absolutely best remedy for Aquarius at this time is to try meditation, and that helps the stress in your body as well as it helps with the mental stress. And one other thing that you can do is, if you have a lot of health issues, is to cut down on your salt intake or cut down on salty foods, because Saturn is represented by salt. So if you cut down on salt, then that should help a lot with all the issues that the retrograde phase may give you. Pisces, Saturn is retrograding in your 12th house. For Pisces, the retrograde Saturn is going to bring back some old wishes and desires from the past that relate to either foreign travel or purchasing a very expensive item that you always wanted or desired. Regardless, this Saturn retrograde is going to tempt you to spend a lot of money on something to fulfill your wishes and desires. Some Pisces may also go on a very long distance or a foreign trip that they have always wanted to for a long time. Those Pisces that are involved in careers or businesses that involve foreign companies, foreign overseas companies, or anything to do with foreign entities, this is an excellent time for you, so that you may see very good results and rewards as a result of that career. In fact, some Pisces may even have to relocate to a foreign country. So if you've desired to do that, this retrograde phase of Saturn may actually get you a relocation to a foreign country if that's what your desire is. Business owners that want to expand their business overseas to another country, this is an excellent time to do that. And they may see good results, benefic results as a result of them expanding to foreign shores. So this is an expensive retrograde phase for Pisces. I've been talking about spending a lot, spending on travel, spending on buying high-ticket items that you've always wanted to, and even expanding your business. So all of this involves money. So this is an expensive time for Pisces. So there is this caution that I want to put out there. One is regarding the loans or getting into a debt situation. It's not an advisable time to take out a lot of loans or get loans or to be in a very high debt situation during a Saturn retrograde phase for anybody. Because when you do that, it's going to be very hard to pay off the loan at a future date. So whenever we take out loans or give out loans during Saturn retrograde phase, the payback, or when you need to pay it back in the future becomes very difficult. So avoid getting into a high debt situation during this Saturn retrograde phase. But if you have the money for it, by all means, fulfill your wishes and desires by purchasing whatever it is that you wanted to for a long time. So the 12th house also indicates hidden enemies. So Saturn retrograde in the 12th house indicates victory over hidden enemies. So if there was somebody that was jealous of you or some sort of a hidden enemy, you don't have to worry about them now, because they will either just go away, or you may feel that they're not able to do any harm to you. So that's a good part about Saturn retrograde in the 12th house. And I do have one last thing for all those people that do end up taking long distance trips or foreign trips. Make sure your plans are airtight. You make very good travel plans, and make sure you bring everything with you. When you travel during a retrograde phase, it's very common to get distracted and your travel plans get derailed. So make sure you plan very well all your travel, and make sure you bring everything that you need to with you, because it's very common to forget things at home as well during a retrograde phase. And with this, I do come to the end of my video. I hope everybody has a wonderful retrograde Saturn transit. I hope good things come back to you from the past, and I wish everybody good luck. I'll see you on my next video. Goodbye for now.